Good morning, race fans. We're going to take a look at the footage that we took from last night's practice. Last night was Thursday, August 31st. We'll jump into a first start with the varsity group. A bit of a right favor in this start. You can see that everybody, I'm looking the wrong way down the line. I'm actually looking towards from the boat end of the line out. You'll get that picture here in a second, but you can see there's a lot of people that are way out here on the boat end of the line waiting. That's a 1 minute whistle until the start. And you can see that everybody's kind of setting up down here way on the right side. We look down the line.
Nobody is on the line.
Nobody's on the line. In fact, there's one boat that's messing around. That's Mason coming back on port. Bobby's hanging out at the boat end of the line with 50 seconds to go. Here comes Liam, Jonathan. This is kind of I don't want to say it's a high-risk maneuver, but it's not a sustainable maneuver. You're not going to sit here for 45 seconds at the boat end. Hold your position. Here's 30 seconds to go till start. You're still slowly sliding forward, and when we scan down the line, you'll see we are over. Liam's over, Mia's over, or Mia's just about over. She's just on the line now, but Liam doesn't have any place to go. Now Mia's over. So there's no place to go. I like Mason's position back here a little bit closer, a little bit further down the line, a little bit below the line, so you have some place to go. Remember, when you're setting up with the starting line, you don't want to set up right on the starting line. You want to give yourself some place to go, especially if you've got a boat that camps out underneath you. If you're trying to kill speed, you're trying to kill, you're going to hold your position. You're always going to be slowly moving forward. You don't want to be completely stopped on the starting line anytime, because that's just not, it's not a good way to go. The other thing I want to point out here, and hopefully I can pause this video. Nope, can't pause the video. So you'll see that there's boats here in the middle of the line, just now tacking off. You have to recognize when you're in a bad position almost immediately, and then tack and get out of that bad position so that you can clear your line. Now we're going to work on the upwind part of this. This is fast forward a minute or two. We're past the leeward mark. We're approaching the windward mark in the middle of our bloodbath. The one thing I want to recognize here is that there's a pretty big spread in the fleet. There's a lot of boats that went way left. There's a lot of boats that went way right. And these boats that come back on the left are coming back on port tack against the grain. So you really have to have your head on a swivel when you're coming back against the grain on port tack. The other thing that you have to recognize too is that you can't tack inside that 2 boat length zone inside of another boat and have them alter your course. I think there's going to be an altercation here between 4 and 1. We're looking, thinks he's going to make it. And
Oh, that's foul.
yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. That is a foul, right? So, and we talked about that after the fact. I think in this case, recognition that there's nobody behind that lead boat, live to fight another day. Duck that lead boat and then tack back in on starboard. Instead of first, you're second, and you have a chance to continue to race and make gains. Now you owe me a spin, right? And now you owe me a spin in traffic. That's a higher risk, higher loss going forward. The other thing I want to recognize here too is that we want to make sure that we're transitioning out of that mark. We want to get our boats downwind as fast as we can, get down to that wing and wing
you're on port.
course.
Remember that.
And here we go. We're coming in on our first leeward mark. We got a gaggle of boats here, 3 or 4 or 5 boats coming in. Mason's doing a good job slowing down, trying to wait for the gaggle to pass. Kind of let this play out. 4 rounds in first. There's 11 around them. Gonna duck behind. And then look at Mason jumping in there. Ducked inside 2 boats. Just by slowing down, waiting for that first gaggle to go. When you round in a group, you're going to slide sideways as you round in the group. The boat behind actually has the controlling position.
Mo, you got room on Camden. Mia's got room on you. She's got plenty of room there. Jonathan doesn't have room on anybody.
Here's another perfect example. 3 boats coming in abreast. Here's Jonathan behind. Thinks, oh man, this is going to be a bad position. Well, watch how this turns out. The first boat rounds. Camden has a pretty good rounding.
Sophia. I didn't even
Sophia
recognize
Eli,
you.
one of our alumni, jumped in with the Ohio State folks tonight. Now watch, get back out of there. Now watch Jonathan come around that mark, rounds inside of Mo, and rounds inside of boat 2. Has a good rounding, even though he was behind coming into that zone. So don't think that you have to be in the zone, but pay attention to the boats that are in front of you. So when you can round in front of them, do so. Here we go, we're coming into a leeward mark rounding. We're going to watch a few of these and watch. I think that the thing that I wanted to watch most, and I mentioned this last night, is I want to make sure that the sails trim at the same time, right? So here we go, we're going to round this mark. Liam's going to jibe. Watch how quickly the jib comes in. That one came in pretty well, right? She trimmed that jib as she was rounding. That was perfect. Now the jib here, trimmed in already, all the way in. And the main's luffing, and you slide sideways. Look at the gap between the leeward mark and the boat. Same thing holds true here. Make sure that you're pulling that jib in at the same rate you're pulling the main in. Here we go. Nice rounding. Look at how close he is to the leeward mark. Round with the main. Trim the jib at the same rate as the main. Don't crank the jib in before you get to the mark, and definitely don't crank the main in before you get to the mark. There's a bit of main sheet to trim in. Get used to it. Practice it. Get better at pulling a lot of main sheet in. That's a good rounding from Bobby. This jib is cranked in. She actually recovered pretty well from that rounding. A couple more coming downwind. This is Mo, I think, coming into the leeward mark. We'll see how this looks. Jibing before, right? That's another thing I want to focus on. Jibe before you get to the zone or before you get to the mark so that you're not jibing and rounding at the same time. But look at that jib pulled way in, way too tight before you get in. And look at how far away from the mark. When you're pulling the main in too early and you're pulling the jib in too early, you're just going to slide sideways around that mark. And let's see if 2 can take advantage of it here. They sure do. Look at that. Round right up inside of them. You definitely see the gap between the two boats now. All right, we've got more starting practice coming up here. We took a lot of video last night. This one's going to be kind of long, but there's a lot of good stuff that we're looking at, especially when we start talking about starts, right? What do we want to do? We want those 5 key components of starts. On the favored tack, at the favored end, going full speed at the start, on starboard tack, and having the ability to bail out of a bad start, right? So here we go. We got 1 minute to go until the start. Again, nobody coming back down the line on port tack. If it was me, I would be coming back at everybody on port tack and look for that gap in the starting line to tack into. Tack right underneath somebody so I can hold them up. I create a bit of a gap below me so that at 5 or 8 seconds to go, I can bear off into that gap below me and accelerate and punch out, bow out at the start. That's the ultimate starting goal, right? You want to be forward on the boats around you, but not over the line early. You want to be going super fast as you possibly can be. And make sure that you have the ability to tack when you want to tack. So you have 30 seconds to go, 20 seconds to go now. A lot of bargers. If it were me, I would shut the door on all these suckers coming in here on starboard tack at the boat end and make them all go below me. If my goal is to be on starboard tack at the boat, I'm hanging out. I'm making sure that they're not going over top of me. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go all the way around this time.
There we go. Good. Reed recognized that he was in a bad position, tacking out of that dirty air. Let's see how this turns out for him. Nice breeze here. There's a good one from Mo. Good recognition that she's kind of in a bad spot. Maybe a little bit more communication with the crew to make sure that she knows that you're going to get into that tack.
Trim and hike.
Here we go. Now we're going to follow her upwind.
Up on the wind. Hit the boat up in the wind a little bit.
There you go. Get up on the wind. Ease that main out. Get the boat a little bit flatter. Good job, ladies. All right. Now, look at this. You got 2 boats that went way out to the right. You got all the rest of the gaggle over here to the left. But you can see there's boats in here. That one finally tacked off. It was about 45 seconds after the start. 45 seconds after the start, 50 seconds after the start, sailing in bad air. There's no reason to do that. There's nobody above you. Take 2 quick tacks if you have to. If you want to go left, that's fine. But take a tack out to clear your air and then tack back when you're clear, and now you can continue out that way, but you have clean air when you're doing so. That's the key. Remember, we talk about that. That first 30 to 45 seconds after the start, the most important 30 to 45 seconds of the race, that's where you separate from the rest of the boats. Here we go. We're coming downwind again after a windward mark rounding. Again, watch 5 transition out of that mark. Go wing and wing within a boat length of the mark. That's a pretty good transition out of the mark. Good job, Bobby. Mia transitioning out of the mark very well. Here's a couple of them that are jibing. That's a good idea. Why not do that? Jibe and get your air clear. If you're rounding in a gaggle of boats and you've got boats behind you, you know that the wind is coming from behind you. They're going to catch the air first. They're going to get the wind first. They're going to block your air. Take a quick jibe. Jibe out, head off to the left side as you're looking downwind. Lots of good things can happen from that, right? Because when you're coming in down here towards the bottom of the mark, now you're coming in on starboard tack. right away and inside. You can't go wrong.
33.
At some point last night, our rowdy laser friends decided they were going to come over and join us in our bloodbath. So a little bit of a speed difference between the lasers and the 420s, that's for sure. But let's take a look at this. I mean, I think there's interesting things that can happen with this, and we'll talk a little bit about how the lasers are doing as well. That's 20 seconds till the start. You can see everybody's over the line early.
You are on the line.
Yeah. There you go. Now you're on the line. Now you're over the line, Bobby. Yeah. Don't listen to your friends saying that you got to head up and go. If there's a bunch of boats over in front of you, don't follow them. Now, I don't know that I would have ducked down below 2 there, but that's a different story for a different day. Okay, here we go. Another starting practice. We're about a minute to go until the start on this one. There we go. A minute to go until the start on this one. Again, you got a couple of lasers here, hanging out here, trying to hold their position. Let's see how well they hold their position here. We finally have a couple more boats on the line. The wind does actually square up at some point, right? The wind turns back to the left. It actually turns into a pretty square course. I'm not sure why everybody's banging down here towards the boat end of the line. There are good things that can happen out of the pin end, especially if you noticed last night the breeze was filling in from the left a little bit at times. I'm going to sail towards that first pressure too. So 30 seconds to go. It's a crowded starting line. We added 6 boats to the line. It was already a 10-boat line. And all of a sudden now we got 16 boats on the line. It's a bit crowded, so you got to fight for your spot a little bit more. Holding your position is important. 20 seconds to go. I got 1 over. I got 2 over. Sammy's over. The 4's over.
You're over.
I got the 2 down here. See, the problem with setting up on the line right now is that you have no place to go. Literally no place to go. You're 10 seconds. You're over. You've got a boat below you. They're over. There's no place for you to go. In this case, I would have trimmed in and gone around the motorboat and then come back in and live to fight another day. Pretty exciting down there at the pin end of the line. Sometimes people get a little hollery. There's no reason to get a little hollery if you can help it.
Jump in, bloodbath. As many as I think.
Another alumni, Emily Williams from Won't Change Your Liberty. She's a sophomore at Ohio State. She's jumping in and showing us how it's done too. So good for her. Telltales. Make sure that you're looking at your telltales. Make sure that you're on the wind all the time.
What do you guys have over there? Boat handling? Oh, you refilled everybody's water. You refilled everybody's water. I heard you were going to get your water.
All right, here we go again. We're coming around the windward mark. Got some boats around already. Again, pretty big difference in speed between the lasers and the 420. So don't let that discourage you when the lasers are out ahead of you. They're supposed to be. This is a good one, right? Here we go. We're going to do a leeward mark rounding here. We got some lasers that we'll look at as well. It's a pretty good setup for Finn and Mason. In my opinion, they're kind of sailing a little bit too far away from the mark. Let's sail a little bit closer. Let's do that jibe now. Here we go. Good jibe. And good round. All the way up on the wind. That's a good rounding from Finn. Same holds true for Mason. Good rounding here. Liam's jibing and rounding at the same time. That's kind of a slow-mo move. You see how he kind of slowed down in the middle of that move? Try jibing a boat length ahead of that, right? Get the slow part of the maneuver out of the way and then focus on accelerating through that rounding. Good job by Connor rounding there. Balin, good rounding. Here we go. Good rounding from Jacob. Here comes 7. I believe that's John.
Yeah, you're okay.
Now, we got a gaggle of boats here. This is going to be an interesting one, right? The gaggle of boats, the boat behind actually is in control. Either the boat in front is in control or the boat behind is in control. The guys in the middle, they're kind of stuck, right? Watch 5 and 2 kind of spin out here, and then look at Sammy go right in between them and the mark and pick up 2 boats. Boom, just like that.
Sammy, that was definitely the right idea. Yep, I got that all on video, too. We'll talk about that. Good job, Mo.
Just like Dave just said, just like I said. Good job. Now, let that boom go across, Mo. Turn the boat into the wind. Let's get around that mark. Big gaggle here. 4 boats going slow. 17. Emily showing us how it's done, right? Go right in through there. Perfect. Here we go. go. We'll watch the fluid mark down here. You can really see the slide out here when we see this, right? That was a good rounding there. Let's see what Connor looks like coming in here.
On the other side of the course.
Not bad, not bad. See that slide out there, right? Pretty big gap there, too. Take advantage of it. Right there. Boom. Also, sliding out, right? The other thing about this, too, though, is don't want to heel the boat over too much in the turn. Look at that rounding. That was a great rounding. I believe that was Sammy again. Good rounding there. Get around the mark. Get back up on the wind. Take advantage of that. Anytime boats come together, you want to take advantage of trying to pass them. And that was a perfect example of that. A little bit of slide out there. This is a great vantage point to see how far out you're sliding around the mark. Yeah, it looks like I'm rounding the mark pretty well. There's a boat length between you and the mark. That allows your neighbors to get in there and get inside. Good job, Mia.
Hey, so you tell my 420 to get their ass back out here. They're supposed to go in for just a second to go to the bathroom, and they are still out.
All right. We're gonna.
Who is it?
Yeah, we're gonna. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. We've got a bit of okay. So on that one, awesome. I saw that jibe. It was a good jibe until you turn around backwards. Always step across with your back foot first. So you're always facing forward. If you noticed in that jibe how far downwind they were after they were done, it's because they weren't looking at where they were going. Always step across, back foot first, turn the boat, face forward, always watching where you're going when you're sailing. That's rule number one. All right, 1 minute. Here we go, 1 minute. Yep, Bobby messing around with his
water
baler.
pouring in your boat?
All right. I like what he's doing here, right? He did the big dip down, and now he's coming back up, giving himself a little bit of room on the line to maneuver. Mo going full speed, 45 seconds. He's going to end up down here at the pin end of the line, and it's all about situational awareness and timing, right? You've got 30 seconds or so to go. You're down there at the pin end of the line. Now you're going to be coming back on port, 30 seconds. That's a little too late in the sequence to be coming back on port against the grain. I want to be there in that 45 to 50 second range, coming back, looking at how this is setting up. There's a hole between 4 and the boat just above them. I would be looking at that. 20 seconds to go, 15 seconds to go. Very crowded line. I like what Mason's doing here in boat 1. Here comes Mia. Not stopping the boat with 3 seconds to go, that's for sure. That's a good start. That's a good start. Good acceleration out of Balin right here at the boat. Mia had a good start. The only thing I would say there, Mia, is I would not have had Brock stand up and push the boom out with 5, 4, 3, 2 to go. I definitely want to be going as fast as I can at that point. So don't try not to slow the boat down or stop the boat when you're inside of 5 seconds to go in the start. Good job on this by Jack. Kind of a stinker of a start, but that's okay. We're going to tack out. We're going to head out to the right where we're by ourselves. Get a little bit of breeze, a little bit of luck. We'll see what happens there. All right, jumped in with the JVs for a time last night as well. We did a little bit of their bloodbath too. So yeah, focus in on a little bit of JV sailing as well.
Did you touch it? I don't know.
All right, girls from Liberty, Marianne and Ellie doing a great job. I love the fact that they're driving and they're killing it today and killing it this season. Honestly, it's really, really good. Looks like we've got Nick and David in 6. I know. This is kind of a nitpicky. I know the inclination is to try to muscle the boat around and pull those sails in as fast as you can, as hard as you can. But in that case, Nick, I think I want to let that jib come across on its own, or let it backwind against the mast and then pull it across. Don't pull the sail through the tack. That really slows the boat down during the tack, and it doesn't help your driver any. That's for sure. Let's see if we watch another tack here by these guys. There we go. We got Charlie and beyond. Got our first
Pull your man
learn
out,
to sail
all the way
guys.
in. All the way into
I
the
think
boom
that's
is over the back
Alex
of the boat.
and Seth. Alex and Seth jumped into the learn to sail early this
bloodbathing.
season, and they were the first ones to get pulled
Around
up
the
to
buoy.
the
Where'd you
JV
guys go? You
practice.
didn't land-
I didn't tell you to go to the line. Come back up.
Turn around, you missed the buoy.
Yeah, always make sure that you're paying attention to what the drill
Run that
is.
buoy, Charlie.
Don't just do your own drill. Make sure that you're following the drill that we're doing, rather than the drill that you want to do. There are drills that we do for a reason. There's the other one of our learn to sail guys that jumped into the JV part of the practice. I don't remember who that is. I think that's Gabe and Landon. I think
There
that's
you go,
Gabe
Landon.
and
You
Landon.
jive. Now
There
go
we
ahead and head up. Turn around. Turn left. There you go. Keep going.
There we go. Opti Kids sailing 420. I love it.
Whoa! No. What are you doing? You go upwind. You've already passed and missed the mark, right? You were way down here. You passed the mark. I'm literally right here, Charlie.
And don't hit the motorboats while you're sailing. That's never a good move.
Between me and the buoy.
There we go. Let's see here. It's going to go between me and the buoy. I've got a
There you
pretty
go.
tight
Go
window
ahead and
here,
hand it
but
over
let's
to-
see if we can
go
do
ahead
it.
and hand it over to Nick.
I know we can do it.
Start your jibe.
There we go. Watch your heads.
Watch your heads. Now trim both hands. Both hands. There you go. Go.
Turn that
And
boat.
turn two.
Turn. Good job. Good rounding. Good rounding.
Good job.
I love it. Here comes another one coming downwind. These are the kids that moved up. I believe it's Alex and Seth in boat 22. We'll see what this looks like when they come down here and roll through the mark.
All right, now here we go. We're gonna turn nice and slow, nice and gradual. Start trimming. Trim the main. Trim the main too.
There we
Trim
go.
the jib
There we
as
go.
you're
There we
turning.
go. Good. Look
There
at
you
that.
go.
That
Good.
was
Keep
awesome.
going with the jib main. Keep going with the main.
Keep
Okay,
trimming.
now
Keep
stop
trimming. Get
turning.
that boom. There you go.
Good job.
Good.
Good rounding.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Good rounding. A little bit too high on the wind though. See how the jib's starting to left? Either tack or turn back downwind.
Good job. Switch hands.
Working through some tacking practice. I like that.
Good tack.
That was a good tack.
Who's driving that boat? Okay, never mind. Good rounding. You should be able to pass between me and the buoy.
Looks like Justine and
Ready?
Peyton.
Yep. Go ahead. Start turning. Turn. Trim the main too. Trim the main too.
There we go.
Somebody trim the main. You got the jib. Justine, you got the main. Yep, she's tacked. She's tacked. You've tacked. Go, let it tack. Let it tack. You're going to run into the buoy. If you tack like that, Peyton, don't tack back. Just tack. Are you going all the way down or are you around the buoy? Oh, let's get to the buoy. Right here. Aim right at the buoy. Don't worry about her. Trim. Pull it all the way in. Pull the jib all the way in and cleat it. There you go. Let the jib go across. Trim the jib. Trim the main. Go.
All right, so there's a lot going on there. Justine came through the tack, came through the rounding, and turned too far through the wind and then
Good
tacked.
rounding.
In that case, there was nobody around you. Continue the tack, switch sides with the jib, and go. Instead, we tried tacking back. We were super slow-mo.
Charlie,
We
right
ended
at
up
the buoy.
backwinding everything
Went
and
right at
moving
the buoy.
into the mark, and it was bad mojo. The other boats that were coming
Charlie,
around said, oh my
went
gosh,
right at
there's
the
a boat
buoy.
there. I don't want to
You're
go in
sailing
there.
away
Yeah,
from the buoy. The bow
you
boats
definitely
are
want to go
going
to
right
the
at
mark.
it.
You don't want to pass me.
Let the
You don't
jib
want
go
to give
across,
them
let
so
the
much
jib
of a
go
berth.
across.
They're struggling. That's all
We're
right.
about to
Go
round the
around
mark.
them. You don't have to go around them by 10 or 20 feet. You can go right next to them and go right
Always
around
pop
them.
your bat.
That's how you pass boats on the race course.
There you go. Now slowly
There you go.
trim.
There we go. Here we go. Good job, Charlie. Good job, Stephanie. All the way through? Nope. Too high on the wind. Let's make sure
There
that
you go,
when we're
around that
turning
mark.
up into the wind, drivers, you
There
got to
you
be
go,
looking.
trim.
You got to
Easy
have
with the jibs,
the main
Jack.
sheet trim
Easy with the
become
jib. You want the
second
jib and the main
nature.
to come
Pull
in at
that
the
main
same
in all
rate,
the way.
okay?
Eyes up on the jib, and when the jib starts to backwind or break, stop turning.
right,
Turn the boat
everybody
back
down the
downwind and get your boat moving fast. All right, last one. I think this is the last starting sequence we have. This is one we're going to do a little bit different vantage point. Dave's at the boat end, the pin end's down here to the left, and I'm behind the line. So this is going to be a good observation to see who's got clean air, who's got dirty air, who's got a clean lane, who's got a congested lane. I love this vantage point because it really kind of accentuates the fact that you really have to fight hard to be first row on the line. You also have to fight hard to make that lane clear. And a clean lane is not necessarily a clean lane to windward of you, but it's a clean lane to leeward of you as well. You want to be able to turn the boat downwind and accelerate after the start and put a little bit of distance between you and the boats around you. So we're at less than 20 seconds. 9 coming back. There's a good hole right there. Tack there. Ooh, that was pretty close. 10 seconds. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. So you're basically all over. That's what I heard Dave say. Basically all over because we're setting up too high on the line instead of setting up a boat length below the line so you have some place to go to kill speed. You're setting up right on the line, and when you notice that people are like barging in on you or they're coming up from behind you or coming up below you, you don't have any place to go. Set up a little bit lower on the line. If they're on the line, guess what? When they pull the trigger and they go, they're going to be over and they're going to get called back. You don't have to fight that hard to get to be over the line. All right, let's look at some dirty air. Right here in the middle of the screen, that looks like dirty air. 4 looks like they've got dirty air. 17 definitely has dirty air. All right. And the breeze kind of shut down here a little bit too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, I would tack. I would definitely tack.
Yeah, and at some point, if you're behind the wind shadow, you can tack and follow people upwind if you're behind the wind shadow. It's when you get into the wind shadow that you really want to focus in on getting out of dirty air, that's for sure. All right, tiller extension in front of you all the time because see how little motion you have, little range of motion you have when the tiller is next to you? Tiller extension in front of you. Always in front of you.
Hold that tiller extension in front of you.
And you don't have to hold it at the very, very end of the tiller extension either. Hold it where it's comfortable. Here we go. Coming up on a windward mark rounding. I think this is the last race of the day where we just kind of went around the mark and then we kind of went back into the dock. So, all in all, a pretty good day of practice. I think the things that we want to really work on are clean lanes at the start, not over the line at the start, and really making sure that we're rounding the marks properly, right? We want to make sure that we're coming in a little bit wide, and we're coming in tight when we go round the mark. Trim the sails at the same rate, right? Don't crank the main in before you get to the mark. Don't crank the jib in as you're rounding the mark. You really want those to trim in smoothly and uniformly as you come up around the mark. We'll do it again next week. It's going to be warm again next week in the upper 80s, low 90s, so make sure that you're prepared for that. The gill orders are being placed today, so if you haven't done that already, do so and get that into me pretty soon. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and we will see you guys all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Tuesday.